Everyone rolling? Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Everyone ready? Okay, good. Oh, well, good morning, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining us nice and early on the live stream as well. It's almost like Brekkie TV. So, hi, Koshi. Hi, everyone. Hope you're watching. We've got a great announcement today. So, obviously, there's great interest, great buy-in from the community about how we can contribute to a sustainable environment. And there's actually interest in that for many reasons. And one, it can save you money by investing in renewables and participating in sustainability options and opportunities. But also it is better for the environment. It is better for our climate. And the Queensland Police Service also wants to make its contribution towards those sustainability targets and those renewable energy targets. So the government specifically has renewable energy targets of 70% by 2032 and 80% by 2035. You know, in many respects, leading the nation when it comes to this, and backed in, of course, by our Energy and Jobs Plan, $62 billion investing in renewable energy and sustainable energy generation. And the QPS, of course, wants to contribute to how we can build a more sustainable environmental outcome for all Queenslanders, for all Australians. So the Queensland Police Service has, over a number of years, started an investment program into hybrid vehicles to not only support, obviously, the QPS's contribution to environmental sustainability, but there is a cost saving when it comes to fuel efficiency for the Queensland Police Service as well. So I'm very pleased to announce today with Acting Deputy Commissioner Mark Wheeler that over the next 2 years, 100%, that's the target, 100% of the sedan and SUV Queensland Police Service fleet will be hybrid. Either fuel efficiency hybrid vehicles or plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. This is a great way that the Queensland Police Service can contribute to environmental sustainability, but as I said also, there's a win for taxpayers here. Fuel efficient vehicles not only get the job done, but they get the job done using less fuel, which of course has a saving for taxpayers and allows us to invest more in the Queensland Police Service front line. It's interesting statistics around how much our Queensland Police Service vehicles contribute to community safety every year. In fact, 77 million kilometres a year are travelled in Queensland Police Service vehicles, or over 212,000 kilometres every single day. Quite extraordinary. And I'm sure there's people out there with their calculators already working out how many times around the world that is every single day. This is an exceptional contribution to community safety, and I want to commend the Queensland Police Service for being proactive in how it wants to contribute to environmental sustainability and also responsible use of taxpayer money. I'll hand over to the Acting Deputy Commissioner.
Thanks, Minister. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. As everyone's aware, the Queensland Police Service is a really large organisation, some 17,500 employees, and of course we have a footprint in pretty well every community across Queensland. And what we're trying to do is actually reduce our carbon footprint, and as the Minister announced this morning, there's been a lot of work already done in terms of our hybrid and our EV plug-in fleet. To put it in perspective, and the Minister touched on this, but every week our police do about 1.5 million kilometres around the state. So that's a huge number of kilometres that they travel to do their jobs, and in various environments and various formats. And what we see are the vehicles that have been brought into this program, they're being tested really well. We have a very extensive testing regime. So they're operationally tested. We have frontline police using them and making sure that they're happy with them. And then they're assessed against the framework. So what we will see over the next couple of years, we will endeavour to replace all of the operational sedans and SUVs with hybrids within a 2-year period. And I think that's a really good announcement. The Minister touched on it before, but not only is this being environmentally friendly, it's also helping offset the rising cost of fuel, which is really important for our staff, really important for our organisation, and most importantly for our community. Happy to take any questions. Thanks.
How many vehicles are we talking here?
So we have a fleet of over 2,700. So what we're looking at is all of our operational vehicles in a 2-year period to convert over to the hybrid
So that's
Yep.
2,700.
So, no, it's not 2,700, it's less than that. I'll get you the exact figure. But yeah, that's just our operational vehicles we'll be talking about. Because, of course, in our fleet we also have vehicles that do other functions, particularly in corporate sections.
Just to
Yep.
have the infrastructure in place in terms of charging stations across the state to be able to sustain that movement.
Yeah, if you're talking about EV, so the EV is obviously an evolving technology, and working towards creating more EV into the fleet is obviously going to take time. And a key factor in that will be that infrastructure that you talk about. So they're things that we're looking at moving forward. But there's also a lot of complexities around vehicles when we use them in an operational sense, because you've got to remember the vehicle is not being used for normal purposes. It's being used to carry police equipment. It has to be very, very reliable. And also, a vehicle is used essentially in an operational sense 24/7. That is, at the end of each shift, it's handed over. So what we have to look at is how do we construct a program that allows the vehicle to remain charged, the vehicle to remain reliable and available.
What's the budget that's been set aside for this? How much is it going to cost?
I'll get you that information. Yeah.
How long will it take? A few years. How long is this whole process?
Yeah, so for all of our operational vehicles to be in the format we're seeing, in the hybrid format, it'll be another 2 years. That's our aim. But of course, that's subject to any supply constraints and also operational requirements.
For the Minister?
Yep.
I can just give you a couple of facts and figures as well, Majura. So it's out of the global vehicle budget fleet for the QPS, which this year is $48 million, but that's for the entire fleet. And obviously, you can price these vehicles up. Everyday Queenslanders can purchase one of these vehicles. So they're comparable with the price that consumers would pay, but obviously we try and get the best value out of that. But the $48 million a year is for the entire fleet. There's a component of that that's for fuel. There's a component of that which is the purchase of new vehicles. There's a component of that which is the fit out. But obviously if we can save some money on petrol, then we can invest that in more equipment, other things for police vehicles and potentially more police vehicles.
Have you factored in, I guess, the hurdles that is the supply chain globally?
Yes, no, so Queensland Police Service is very sophisticated about its ordering arrangements, and of course no one is immune to those global supply chain impacts, but I've got every confidence that the long-term planning that we put in place will ensure that we have not only sufficient numbers of police vehicles, but we actually have a good value proposition from suppliers of vehicles to the Queensland Police Service as well.
Has there been any calculations on, I guess, how much the QPS will reduce its emissions by doing this?
Well, we have got some calculations around how much we've saved in fuel already, which the last factors I've been given, and we're now at about 71% of the operational fleet as being hybrid, going to the 100% obviously over the next few years. But it's saved us many, many millions of dollars a year in fuel. So that is also, that's not just a measure of saving money, it's a measure of using less fuel, which is a measure then of how much you've reduced your carbon emissions. So I think that's a pretty sophisticated and impressive outcome just by changing to hybrid vehicles.
But do you have a figure on what the carbon reduction is, like what that reduction is?
Well, it's a reduction, but it depends on the vehicle and depends on how you drive them and all of that sort of. That particular piece is a bit complicated, but someone with a calculator could say you've got 5 Camry hybrids and they are X% more efficient than a standard Camry, and then you can make the calculation that way. But a good measure, I think, is of how much you've reduced your carbon emissions is how much you've saved on fuel, because that means you're using less fuel, which means you're emitting less carbon emissions.
As for the specific cost of the transition, do you have that figure? You mentioned the 48 for this transition.
Oh, well, it's actually a net positive for us. So we've got $48 million a year that we spend on the fleet, but we're saving many, many millions a year on petrol. So it's actually a positive proposition for taxpayers. So it makes sense environmentally, and it also makes sense from a financial point of view as well.
So there's no cost in, like, say, you're contracting this car, if you then upgrade it to an EV, there's no cost to change that range.
Most people know these days that the price differential in car showrooms between a standard Camry, and a hybrid Camry is pretty much negligible. So, and obviously with the purchasing power of the Queensland Police Service, we're able to also get some better value for taxpayers as well.
Minister, on the domestic and family violence...
Is there any more on this first? No? Okay. Oh, yeah. No.
The report's going to be handed down on November 14th.
Mm.
Do you know if it is the government's, I guess... Are you guys going to release it on the same day, or are we going to be waiting a couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, look, the report gets handed to government. I know that it's government's intention to release it. I haven't got the specifics about when it may be released, but the usual thing around Commission of Inquiry reports is that they go to Cabinet and they get released pretty quickly thereafter.
So I think November 14th is a Monday.
Yes, then there's no Cabinet meeting. We've got regional community forums, but there's a Cabinet meeting the next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's been the death of a 51-year-old Indigenous man in Far North
Yeah.
Queensland. Is there an investigation underway into that? Can you give us any details?
Yeah, no, very, very sad situation there, and obviously condolences to the man's family, but also to the whole community, and also the police officers there who are embedded in that community, very close-knit community. I know Cowan-Yama very, very well. I'm the ministerial champion for Cowan-Yama, and I've been in contact with the mayor, and he's obviously, connected strongly with community and family. So sad situation, and any loss of life is a tragedy. There is a very thorough investigation underway. There's always a thorough investigation underway when these sort of circumstances come to light. So we've got the Ethical Standards Command, and that will be independently oversighted by the CCC and the coroner.
He's called up the mayor up there has called for calm in the community. Do you echo those comments?
Yeah, well, I know the community pretty well. Good-hearted people. They work together, very respectful of the relationships they've got with police, and likewise the police have got very good, respectful relationships with the community up there as well. So I've got every confidence that together the community can grieve over this and work collaboratively to support each other through this process.
Do you know how long he was in the cell? What information do you have?
That'll all be looked at as part of the investigation.
Do you have any period of time?
It'll all be looked at as part of the investigation.
Is the coroner flying?
Oh, that would be a matter to ask the coroner.
Do you know if any officers have been aside while the investigation is underway?
I'm not aware, but obviously investigations like these are run very thoroughly, and that's why there's processes around independent oversight from the CCC and the coroner.
Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I think you indicated that Chief Superintendent Ray resigned. Do you have any update? Chief Superintendent Ray, I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
Do you have any update? Do you know?
I don't have any updated comments, no.
And he remains, he hasn't handed in his resignation?
I might get the deputy to address that. Yeah.
Yeah, so what was your question, if there's an update?
Chief Superintendent Ray, has he handed his resignation or anything of that sort?
No, he hasn't, and what I won't be able to do is to go into any great detail. I don't want to prejudice any potential issues that are under consideration. What I can say is that member is currently now on leave again. I won't go into the leave details for privacy reasons, but I can confirm that that officer's on leave.
When did he go on leave?
He went on leave as of yesterday.
In the afternoon?
No, he was on leave as of yesterday morning.
Just off about the plane crash, I'm not sure if you're exposed to the minister. Just that every response made some comments from the minister, or if you have an update at all about the
Yeah, I mean, obviously our hearts go out to the people, the families, and obviously of the people who lost their lives in that crash. It'll be thoroughly investigated, of course, with the assistance of the relevant authorities, and just a tragic set of circumstances.
Have you been briefed on the Cowan-Yama death investigation?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Can you tell us about?
Well, all I can say is yesterday a 51-year-old man was taken into custody with respect to alleged domestic and family violence breaches. The man was found unresponsive in his cell, and sadly that man passed away. And of course our condolences are extended to the family and friends of the person who's passed away. I want to commend Mayor Sams. He has really shown some leadership in the community. He's called for calm. there is calmness across the community. We have sufficient police there to assist the community through the grieving process, and also, really importantly, having independent investigators from the Ethical Standards Command fly in to make sure that this is a really thorough, open investigation. The other really important aspect of this matter is we've appointed family liaison officers to keep the family and the friends updated continuously throughout this process. The Minister mentioned the CCC will overview this matter, and then most importantly, the coroner will make findings. So in any of these cases, they're always extremely tragic, extremely sad, but ultimately, cause of death will be determined by the coroner, and we will assist the coroner. No. Look, it's really early stages in the investigation. There's no one being stood aside. But what we are doing is supporting our officers. This is incredibly traumatic for the police as well. My heart goes out to the community, but the police officers involved, a really traumatic situation for them. They're being given support as well. And look, no one goes to work wanting or even thinking something like this can happen. But we just do have to wait until the investigation plays out fully. I can guarantee it will be an open, transparent investigation, and most importantly, it will be really independent.
And do you know how long he was in the cell?
No, that will all come out during the investigation, and that'll all be subject to findings of the coroner as well.
Do you know how many officers were working?
No, I don't have that detail, Marlena, but certainly that will also form part of the investigation. What we will see is the investigation, a look at the timings, the number of staff rostered, all of those things that you would expect, the monitoring, everything like that will be unpicked throughout that investigation very, very closely.
And any idea of when the autopsy will take place?
No, I don't have that information.
And officers flying in from Cairns?
No, we've actually got officers from Brisbane flying up, so Ethical Standards Command in Brisbane, very senior investigators are flying in, and who are very, very experienced in these matters.
Minister, are we just able to ask you about the two-factor driver's licence? Is this coming in now as a result of the Optus breach?
Yes. So that's a genesis of obviously this improvement in people's security around their identity, but also I think it's reflective of the times we live in. We do have to take extra precautions around our own identity, and that includes identity documents. So can I take the opportunity to commend the staff from the Department of Transport and Main Roads for working hard to ensure that this two-factor authentication is available to people who have got Queensland driver's licences.
The Sydney Morning Herald has an article that New South Wales opted into this sooner. Victoria and Queensland didn't, and now hundreds of thousands of people have been spared having to now renew their licence. So should Queensland have acted a bit sooner to get this authentication in place?
Well, I hope the people at the Sydney Morning Herald don't take offence, but I haven't read the paper, that paper. But obviously, the people at Transport and Main Roads work very hard. They've worked very hard to get the two-factor authentication in place now, and I commend them for their efforts.
Just on Chief Superintendent Ray Believer again, he did call for this presentation yesterday, just heard from the Assistant Commissioner about these taking leave. What do you think about the fact that he's taking leave again?
Well, look, I said a fair bit about this yesterday. The Commissioner is getting advice around her industrial rights, and look, let's leave it at that. Let's let the Commissioner get that advice, and we'll see what happens from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.